Hi, I'm Gordon Smith, and I am the Chief Marketing Officer of Akitra. We're a provider of compliance automation software for SOC 2, ISO 27001, HIPAA, and a variety of other compliance frameworks. I'm here today with one of our customers, Tracey Neal, who is the GRC manager at Anvilogic. Welcome, Tracey.
Thank you, Gordon. Thank you so much.
And Tracey, I'd appreciate it if you could just say a few words about yourself, your role, and about Anvilogic.
Yes, absolutely. Again, my name is Tracey Neal, and I am Anvilogic's GRC manager. I was brought on board by the company to build out the governance, risk, and compliance program. And so Anvilogic is a modern security operations center platform that allows our customers to automate threat detection, intelligence, and response activities for their security operations.
What were your customers saying to you about compliance? Why were they telling you that they wanted you to be compliant with SOC 2 or ISO 27001 or whatever?
So, with SOC 2, Type 2, and ISO 27001, those are industry standards. And your customers want to know that you ensure a high level of information security with your application. And to show that due diligence, it's why companies should go and achieve the SOC 2 Type 2 and ISO 27001 certifications.
So is it fair to say that your goal was basically to enhance your trust with your customers, your level of trust with your customers as a result of showing that you'd gone through that kind of due diligence?
Absolutely. It's important to show that you are going to protect your customers' data. I mean, after all, you're going to have access to all of it in most cases as a software as a service platform. And so you want to ensure that you can protect your customers' data.
Okay. And can you say a little bit about why you decided to opt for the compliance automation approach to compliance? You're an industry veteran. You have in the past gone through compliance in more traditional manual ways. Why go with compliance automation this time?
Well, I'll tell you, it's quite laborious to go through an audit in general. And so choosing an automated platform allows you to, one, save time throughout the process, save time engaging with the auditors. It's just a time-saving factor that really takes on the head of what you're trying to do for your company as you're trying to achieve the certification.
And for whom does it save time within the organization? For you, of course. Who else is affected by that within the company?
So essentially, it's your leadership, it's your IT staff, and to include myself. Going through an audit process, it's typically a manual, day-to-day process of meeting with people, setting aside time. Gathering information, sending information, going back and re-engaging with the teams to make sense of all the data that you've shared. There's a lot of back and forth that happens when you do that from a manual perspective. And so doing it from the automated side, just really saved us a significant amount of time.
Excellent, excellent. And can you say a little bit about why you specifically chose Akitra to provide the compliance automation services to you and to Anvilogic?
Well, the Akitra platform, it lays out all of the controls for the customer, in addition to giving you all the requirements that are necessary to meet those controls. And the system allows you to upload within each respective control the information that's needed for the auditors to go and review. And so having it all in one place, as opposed to what I described to you in the manual process of sending an email, having conversations, and having to follow up, really makes it more of a seamless process doing it that way through the automated platform. and Akitra offered that. And then, the platform also offered a way for those who are building a program from the ground up to use some of your standard templates that you have to help them, make sense of what their policy structures would look like for their respective program.
Let's talk a little bit about the automated evidence collection aspect of compliance, which can be particularly tedious, as you know. How did Akitra help you with that side of things as you needed to gather information from the cloud platform services that you were using, from various SaaS services that you were using? Can you comment on that?
Sure. So the platform provides an integration into the services, some of the services that you have or do have, and it allows that information to be automated to assess the controls that are in place. And one of the things that I did throughout the process, since I was new to the product, was to go in daily just to see what the system was doing. And I was able to see that on a daily basis, the system was testing those controls to make sure that they were in place and effective.
And of course, for SOC 2 compliance, for example, you have to be able to show the auditor that you're doing that kind of continuous monitoring and continuous evidence gathering. Now, I know that you started initially with SOC 2 Type 2 and completed that using our platform. Where did you go from there in terms of additional compliance frameworks?
Oh, I'm sorry. So we actually, we've also done ISO 27001. I mean, it was an easy process to walk through with the Akitra team and the auditors to achieve SOC 2 Type 2, that we decided to go on to achieve the ISO 27001 certification as well.
Okay. And of course, you could leverage most of the same policies, most of the same controls for ISO 27001 as you had used for SOC 2, correct?
Absolutely. And the nice thing about the system is the way it is designed is that the controls that we did use for SOC 2 Type 2, it also connected those controls that were relevant to ISO 27001. So that saved time in terms of having to go back and pull all of that data again.
Right. So it makes the process much more sustainable, much more repeatable over time and over the years.
Absolutely. And I could foresee for the annual review that it would just be updating information rather than having to go walk through that entire process again.
I would assume that normally if you weren't using our compliance automation, you'd be having to not only yourself attend those meetings with external auditors, but drag in a bunch of your colleagues as well for each of them to spend an hour or whatever it amounts to in each of those meetings. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's very timely because one, most of us don't have the same calendars. And so, trying to do that coordination, getting people at the same place at the same time, having the information that the auditors need, not having to run to the next person because the people that are represented in the meeting don't have all of the information. It just really makes it just an efficient flow of walking through what the auditors need when they need it, and even doing it on the fly if something comes up that may not be represented in the uploads that you've done.
Okay. Can you make any estimate of the return on investment that you've gotten from using compliance automation in terms of the time that it saved for you, for example?
Well, I'll tell you, when you think about the number of people that would be in a room and what their hourly rates are, in calculating it before, it's thousands of dollars, and again, that's repeated throughout the auditing process because it's timely. And so To walk through the process the way that we did with Akitra, I would say that if I quantified it, it was probably a quarter of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a significant cost savings with human capital alone.
So it reduced the time that you needed to spend on compliance by about 75%.
Correct.
That is certainly an incredible saving. Now, you completed your SOC 2 Type 2 in a matter of 3 or 4 months, as I recall?
No, actually, with the, so we walked through and we initially did the SOC 2 Type 1 within roughly a 6-week time period.
Mm-hmm.
And then we followed up with the SOC 2 Type 2, which took an additional 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay. Okay, so even faster than I thought. And had you been doing compliance in the traditional manual way, how long would all of that have taken you?
Well, I can tell you that previously it was at a minimum roughly of about 6 months, just going through that process, the back and forth, the scheduling, the gathering information. It could easily be 6 months.
Right, right, or more.
Or more, yes, or more.
Yeah.
6 months would be your minimum.
Mm-hmm. Excellent, and I'm sure that helped further reinforce the trust relationship between Anvilogic and your customers.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Well, Tracey, do you have any final words of wisdom for any of your colleagues out there in your industry who might be contemplating going through the compliance process and using a compliance automation platform? Any words of advice for them?
Well, I'll say that in this ever-changing threat landscape that we're in and we face day to day, you want your customers to be assured that information security is important to you. And so the way you show your customers and build that trust relationship is by going and achieving the certifications of SOC 2 Type 2 and ISO 27001. And so in this day and time, it's really not an option. It's a must. And it shows your brand, that you're serious about how you do business and who you do business with.
Excellent. Tracey, I'd like to thank you very much for sharing your experiences and your insights with us here today. Much appreciated.
Well, thank you so much, Gordon. I appreciate you taking the time.
And just one final word for those of you viewing this video. If you'd like to see for yourselves a demo of the capabilities of Akitra's product, please contact us at sales@akitra.com or simply go to our website at akitra.com.